The Roughnecks podcast will use explicit terms. If you are easily offended, then you have been warned. If you aren't a pussy, then let's have some fun. Also know that we do not own the rights to the music. Sorry that we are lame, but we will make our own music one of these days when Teddy stops being a lazy piece of shit. With that being said, what is going on, everybody? This is Cole here. You guys listened to that little sponsor segment about Anchor? Yeah, well, that helps us make a little bit of money. So every time you guys listen to it, it helps us make a little bit, a penny at a time. We're trying to use that money once we get enough to buy microphones. As of right now, we don't have any microphones, and I know that the sound quality is a little rough. So if you guys help us out by listening to this, then we will be able to buy microphones and make that sound quality a heck of a lot better. So help us out and listen to that and help us grow by following us on social media at Roughnecks Podcast, and be sure to share our episodes using the hashtag Roughnecks Podcast. You can also now email us at roughneckspodcast@gmail.com or message us on Instagram with great topic ideas or guest ideas. So we are back. We are not in our makeshift studio this time. We are all on Google Hangout for the first time ever. This is the 4th episode of the Roughnecks Podcast. We want to start by saying thank you to all the fans who have been listening. This is our 2nd attempt at a podcast, and let's just say this one's going a hell of a lot better, and that is 100% thanks to you guys. So thank you for everyone who is supporting us. But now it's time for episode 4. We have another special guest with us here today on Google Hangout. This is our first attempt with Google Hangout, so we apologize if it's a little
fucking rough. Muted me.
God damn it, Teddy.
Keep it going.
Yeah, well, you interrupted it. Yes, I muted you.
Talking.
Yeah, well, you don't need to talk yet. This is our first attempt with Google Hangout, so we apologize if it's a little rough. Shouldn't be too bad. But joining us today, we have the all-conference middle linebacker from Ohio Wesleyan University, Joe Yurik. Welcome, Joe.
How we doing? Player of 5 positions, I will say.
Yeah, you might be the next Schuster, or you were the first Schuster. Now Schuster just followed in your footsteps.
I don't know if I want that. I don't know if I want that hung on me.
I don't.
You're a little more successful than Juju.
Yeah,
too much. But
he actually played.
Oh Lord, you had Schuster on the last time?
Yeah, last episode. He the most views we've ever had from Schuster.
He's actually gained 5 pounds since we have done an interview with him.
I don't know there was much more for him to gain.
There's tons.
Yeah. Yep.
You know how people buy gerbils and they look normal?
Yeah.
Schuster is the Ohio Wesleyan football team gerbil. We got him. He looked normal, and now he is fat as shit.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
He'll do anything, any trick you want him to do, he'll do it.
Him and Coach Max Modarski went opposite ways. Max might have gotten 15 pounds skinnier since he got here somehow, and Schuster's offensive line, baby, and I love it.
Oh, dude, Schuster, what, Cole?
I said he was Pat McAfee, just a fatter version of Pat McAfee.
Yeah, that's right.
Whenever, because at one point I only had one tight end, so I used Schuster for all the scout reps. He was catching passes on Shane Quinn.
Oh. That's what you got to get Shane Quinn on here and just talk about how Ronda Rousey could beat him up.
I don't want to get Shane on here because he's gonna break his fucking laptop.
As long as it's his and not yours, it's all that matters.
Shane's put on some weight too.
Yeah, we've all put on weight. Let's be real. I've put on weight.
Pimp Daddy hasn't.
Yeah, you've put on weight, just different kind of weight. You've actually put on good weight. All right, Joe, give us a little background about yourself to start. Where you're from, what you do now.
No, but it's, let's see, I'm from the great state of Parma, Ohio, greatest city on planet Earth. I went to Ohio Wesleyan University, the Ivy League of the Midwest, for 4 years. Played part of the Wolfpack there. And of course, I did dabble a bit in linebacker and what is probably the greatest moment in Bishop's history, if I'm being humble. I got out of there. Now I'm teaching and coaching, and wouldn't rather be doing anything else. So I really like it, really love it.
Where are you coaching at?
Coaching Orville High School, Orville City School. So I'm pretty happy about that.
You're doing better than Schuster.
What is he?
No, he's actually coaching at Olentangy for football right now.
Oh,
The
okay.
freshman football team. He boasted
He
that
is
they're
the
1-4.
freshman running backs coach.
Freshman
Makes
running.
sense.
Hey, 1-4. 1-4 is the one's all that matters there. The one
That's
is all that
fair.
matters.
So you're a big sports fan.
Huge.
Yeah. That's one thing I learned about you real quick. Who are some of your, would you say, your favorite teams? I know you got a lot of teams that you follow in depth.
Oh my. It depends on this. I mean, the Browns are my live, breathe, and die. Mainly die through the Browns because it's been a rough go of it since I've been alive with them. But the Browns are number one overall. Love them to death, even though they usually are picking number one overall. You got to go with the Indians, of course, Cavs, Cleveland through and through. But I stray from the pack in Ohio. I love the Wisconsin Badgers. I don't fall under the Ohio State mist that exists in this state, but love the Wisconsin Badgers. Even gotten into a little soccer here in quarantine with Aston Villa over in the Premier League. So I'm all over the place. But you need in-depth knowledge on any of those teams. I got you.
How did you become a Wisconsin fan?
Oh geez, if I had $1 every time I've been asked that. My dad was born in California, moved back here when he was 3. Grandpa never really was a big fan of Ohio State or any college sports, but when he was out there in the 60s, you pick up, if you're out in California in the 60s, UCLA dynasty, you're a UCLA fan through and through, basketball-wise at least. So my dad loved UCLA, but never had a football team. And it literally is tailgating, I swear to God. The Badgers were terrible in the 80s. They were looking for tickets to go to the Big House to see Michigan when they were actually good once. I know that's hard to believe, but Michigan was good at some point. And lo and behold, they go get tickets through Wisconsin, and it turns out Badgers know how to tailgate. And if there's something a Yurik loves, it's a good tailgate. So they kept going to Badger games, and here I am 40 years later after my dad went to that first game, and I've known nothing else. So
you could say you were about a pube hair away from being a Michigan Wolverine fan.
If Michigan fans knew how to tailgate, we might be Michigan fans right now. We might be.
Let's be real. Michigan isn't good at anything they do.
No. Of course not.
They make a great stadium. I will give them that.
That is true. That is a valid point.
Make a beautiful stadium. So, Joe, how do you ever see Wisconsin winning the Big Ten?
I do. They're going to stumble into one here at some point. They just got to get over the hump that is Ohio State, and at some point.
So what you're saying is Ohio State has to leave for the SEC for Wisconsin to win the Big Ten.
That's not going to happen. Let's be real.
Ohio State needs the one, like Alabama every 8 years goes to like the Capital One Bowl because they have like 3 losses. Ohio State's going to have one of those years, and Wisconsin's going to be the team to send them to the Capital One Bowl by winning the Big Ten championship on like our 8th try against Ohio State.
Not a 59-0 game.
No, yeah, I don't see that happening. They're pretty hot right now,
and they just keep bringing in recruits.
Well, and the thing is, Wisconsin. Their recruiting classes are getting better and better. I think Wisconsin's starting to separate themselves from everybody else as the second best team in the Big Ten.
No.
One of those times we're gonna get them.
Who's the second best team then? Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. It changes every year.
On our side of the Big Ten, like Ohio State side of the Big Ten, it's basically Ohio State. Like, who is the other team that's made it other than Ohio State lately? It's pretty much always been Ohio State other than the year.
One in 2000.
That's true, but
that's I think the number 2 in the whole Big Ten. It's a revolving door. It's either Wisconsin, Penn State, Northwestern. Whenever they had that awkward year, actually winning games, and then Iowa, I think, is always a scary team to play, especially when you're playing at Iowa.
Oh, Iowa and Penn State are 2 places, like, as an Ohio State fan, I hate when we have to play there. Hate it. It's like we struggle at Iowa, always.
Oh, yeah.
Penn State.
I think Wisconsin, y'all's Achilles heel is always the quarterback position.
Yeah.
You guys know how to recruit offensive linemen.
Yeah.
You guys know how to recruit running backs.
Mm-hmm.
you guys know how to develop tight ends and pretty decent wide receivers, and then the front seven on the defensive side is always stacked. Vince Beagle was a baller a couple of years ago. Of course, you have the Watt brothers that have been in and out of there.
We need another one of those Watts coming in. If they got like a farm up in Pewaukee where they're from, we need more to come. Or is it Waukesha? Where they're from? We need more coming through. I love another Watt.
And they were always all three of them. Even Derek Watt was a strut. And then you had the stint in the early 2010s where it was Toon, who was a balling wide receiver.
Nick
That was the late year Russell Wilson. And then you had the running back room. I think you guys do a really good job of finding kids and developing them. But the quarterback spot's just
I'll say that I'll give credit to Barry Alvarez for Urban Meyer's recruiting strategy at Ohio State. And that's the reason that Michigan can't beat Ohio State anymore. When Barry Alvarez came to Wisconsin, they're just terrible. And he realized, he's like, if any good recruits come out of the state of Wisconsin, they have to go to Wisconsin, whether they're 4-star, 3-star, 2-star. If it's the best recruit in Wisconsin, they're going there. And he said, we're going to build a wall around the state and nobody worth a damn's going to leave. And that's still the case today. If you're worth it out in Wisconsin, you don't leave, at least in football. And, that's always been the case with Michigan. Their best football players have come from Ohio, always. And they always said if Ohio State could stop those big recruits from leaving, they dominate Michigan, and that's what's happening. But yeah, Wisconsin gets those young walk-on. They have a lot of walk-ons that come through, man, and
just working guys.
And hard workers. They got kids that fit. People are starting to buy in though on a national basis. We just got a 5-star kid from 5-star lineman from Pennsylvania, which is. They're getting Rucci because we have his brother, albeit, but they're starting to pick it back up. But I mean, you can't compete with Ohio State getting 6 5-star kids running 4.340s. They're going to beat our Cole Nixon's playing safety every single time.
Yeah.
Hey man, it pays off to be a slow safety sometimes.
Okay, do you think if Brett Bielema would have stayed, you guys probably would have won the Big Ten?
I think Brett Bielema was fired in about 2 years after he left.
Oh, you guys were hot though.
We were, but in Wisconsin fans are hard to please. They're Packer fans, so they're used to success. And
everyone was mad when he left.
Bielema,
like I had no idea why he was leaving, because I don't know if you play the old NCAA, Wisconsin was a cheat code. You run the power offense, and then you throw it deep. It just couldn't be stopped. It was the same kind of, and I feel like in reality, their power run game was disgusting, and they had wide receivers that could catch anything.
The thought with Bielema bounced, I think partly because of the pressure and partly because of the paycheck. But, he had some classes there where the 2011 Badgers that won that first Big Ten title game had 20, I'm pretty sure it was something like 22 of their starters, all 22 made it on an NFL roster. Like, it was by far the best team we've ever had, and we lost 3 games, and lost to a 6-7 Ohio State team in Columbus, lost to Michigan State on a Hail Mary. The Ohio State was a Hail Mary too from Braxton as a freshman, and then lost to Oregon in the Big Ten title game. I mean, when you have that talent, and the year before they lost the Rose Bowl to TCU, the pressure was like people are saying Bielema can't win the big one. Bielema can't win the big one. And then he bounced, and I really think Bielema might have been forced out behind the scenes because the pressure was really big.
Well, Arkansas paid him a shit ton of money.
Oh, yeah. He got that SEC money.
And where'd that take him? Arkansas has never been good.
No, Arkansas has that issue of it's a state where you don't get high-level athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, those kids want to get out of Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I think that place will never be successful.
No.
And Bielema couldn't cut it there. The difference with Bielema and Chris that we have now is Chris has won big games. We lost the Rose Bowl this past year, which is, Wisconsin's end all be all win the Rose Bowl. But, He won the Orange Bowl. He won the Cotton Bowl. He's won big games. So now the knock on Chris is, can he beat Ohio State? And he's come close. He's come real damn close, man. But gosh,
another little question: why the hell would y'all believe in Hornibrook? It's like a cardinal sin that a lefty quarterback will not do anything for you.
None of us did. Man. Hornibrook, man, he was something else.
I feel like he was there for freaking forever.
Yeah, he was.
He was there for 2 years, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Hornibrook. He's at Florida State right now.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. He was – we went 12 or 13-1 that year in spite of Hornibrook. If Hornibrook can make throws, Wisconsin beats Ohio State in that Big Ten title game that we played them and we were undefeated. Hornibrook missed 2 or 3 wide open throws in the first half that Wisconsin's offense couldn't necessarily recover. And they still hung with them, keeping that in mind, only being able to run the ball. If Hornibrook, there's 2 or 3 throws I remember that had he been somewhat close to on target with, it would have been a different story. And we would have gone to the playoff and probably got just hammered by Bama. But that was Hornibrook. And then I don't know. You guys know the rumor of why he bounced from Wisconsin?
I don't.
Did he rape someone?
No. Thank God, no. We don't want any of that. The rumor, so he got concussion symptoms, and then he came back in one game we lost and played Minnesota at home, and we lost the act for the first time 15 years and had concussion symptoms again. So rumor was he was, and this has never been reported, but behind the scenes Madison rumor, he was hooking up with the starting middle linebacker's girlfriend. And the Wisconsin. And the starting middle linebacker knocked him out. And
who was the linebacker? Was that Vince Beagle? That had to have been.
Oh, no. I want to say at the time it was TJ Edwards. And apparently that was not confirmed, but like in the circles around Madison that talk about it, that was the rumor of why Hornibrook bounced, was because the team was like, we don't want you back. We're not going to take you. Because realistically, he would have been a third-year starter. It was his job. There's no reason for him to leave. So that's the rumor of why he bounced to Florida State. Now, again, I don't know anything. I don't know for sure, but that's what everybody was saying. Everybody but the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, because they wouldn't report that. So something interesting to keep in mind.
Yeah, he's a douchebag. He kind of seems like that guy.
Didn't come off well when that happened.
Seems like something Ted would do.
Your name's Hornibrook, man. You got to live up to it.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yeah.
How many Big Ten championships you been to, Joe?
Every one Wisconsin's been to. So
that would be a lot of losses.
4 losses, 2 wins.
All that matters is the 2, though, right?
That's actually not that bad.
No. Started off 2-0 and been rough ever since.
Not that bad.
No, it's the Big Ten Championship. If you ever get the chance to go, it is. They do such a good job down there with that. It's such a cool environment because it's.
That's in Indy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Indy's awesome.
It's such a nice city. The Fan Fest
is not cool. Awesome.
Yes, it is.
Indianapolis.
Yes,
such a nice city.
If you
the
go,
only thing there is Lucas Oil.
Yes, and Lucas Oil is awesome.
No, but there's so much to do down there, man. There's the little bar scene they got going on is real nice. The outdoor section, they shut down this whole outdoor corridor for like Colts and Big Ten championship games, and they do a bunch of different stuff. Joey Chestnut did an eating competition there. I mean, they do a phenomenal job, man. If you ever get the chance, the college football playoff title game is going to be there in 2 years. Mm-hmm. It's so cool. I love going. I would go even if it wasn't Wisconsin. It's that good of a time. And it's a cool environment to see 2 fan bases. Like it's the loudest place you'll ever be in because it's 2 fan bases trying to out yell each other. And, I've been there when it's 89, like last game, it was 90% Ohio State because we didn't think we were going to win. But when Wisconsin was 12-0, it was 50-50, and it was the loudest stadium I've probably ever been in. It was crazy.
Yeah, I went there for a motocross race when I was younger. Shut up. And the cool thing too is like our hotel that we stayed in, we never had to walk outside to get to Lucas Oil. You walk through like a overpass tunnel over the street into the convention center, through the convention center into Lucas Oil. And then like
what Cole's trying to say is he slept in his car in a field that was outside.
No, I didn't. Kurt and Shell took me to that one. All right, so I saw on Facebook, Joe, you had that little story about James White. I'm actually very interested in it. So give us some background on it and like what happened.
Yeah. So speaking of Big Ten championships, second one was against Nebraska. We stay at, we get Marriott points. We stay at the Marriott, and the team hotels are always whatever team Wisconsin's playing always stays in the Marriott. Whatever team Wisconsin always stays in the Westin right next door. So we go down. Wisconsin wins 70-31, big win going to the Rose Bowl, and we decide because we're in the Nebraska hotel, let's go next door to the Wisconsin one and see, if we, me being a kid, see if I can see some of the players and meet some players. And it was the coolest experience I've ever had going in. And you guys, hanging around as D3 players, how it is hanging around everybody after a big win. It's the same way there. And think about going to the Rose Bowl and going in, all the players are walking in, and, I get all the big names like Monte Ball, Melvin Gordon is a freshman. That was his big breakout game. So he had first big game he had ever had, carries in 205 yards. NFL players like Bo Allen won a Super Bowl at the Eagles, Rob Havenstein starting tackle for the Rams, like all these great guys. And I got some of their autographs. And the one I was so focused on everybody else, I didn't get James White, who was my dude ever since he was a freshman. And, he was kind of starting to walk away, and I was just kind of standing there. I was like, it's probably too late. And I'm a very typically introverted person, didn't want to reach out and bother him. And his dad kind of caught eyes with me, and we made eye contact. And his dad was like, he's like, hey, you waiting for an autograph from James? I'm like, yeah, actually I am. And he's like, hold on, I got you. And he went over, grabbed James, and nothing against James was busy going to celebrate, but he's like, James, come here. And got his son to sign an autograph with me, sat and talked with me for a few minutes. Both of them did. Super cool gesture from a guy who, just watched his son run for 180 yards in what was going to be one of his last college games, and didn't have to do that for, a kid, who he knew nothing about, who was really crashing the Wisconsin post-game party. So it was really, really cool, and shows he's a real nice guy. We got his son to talk to me, not just sign an autograph. And then I saw that car crash thing that he had 3 weeks ago that he had died in a car wreck, and I think James White's mom survived. And I don't know. That's the only time I ever met James White. Only time I ever met his dad, but. First impressions are big to me, and you could just tell that he was a very, very good man. So I wanted to share that story because on Facebook, because I just wanted to pay my respects to a guy who probably didn't remember that for the rest of his life, but it literally made my night, 8-9 years ago now. Crazy stuff. I have the ticket.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
I got a frame saved. Right, you got Melvin Gordon up here in the corner, Monte Ball right there. That's Rob Havenstein. Melvin Gordon's right there. Rob Havenstein, who played in the Super Bowl with the Rams a couple years ago, and then James White right there. One of my things, I have a lot of sports stuff. One of the things I keep hanging up, partially just because of that story. Super cool. And a great man, it seemed, in the one time I met him. So it was really sad to see that whole thing pop up.
Yeah, and you never hear anything about James White doing anything bad. So I think he did jump from a great home. Mm-hmm. And I think, he's still a young guy. Mm-hmm. He's had so much success in the NFL. Just to go through that, it's a horrible thing.
It's terrible. And, to see all that success, it always – like the Super Bowl, he scored the game-winning touchdown in that one against the Falcons, and that I was just like, wow, I thought of him and I thought of his dad. I'm like, his dad's gonna be so proud. And I think it was Josh McDaniels just came out last week and said, I wish my kids would be like James White. And the kids are always a reflection on the home. Kids are always a reflection on the home. And so it's obvious that he was raised right. So it was just so sad to see that whole story pop up for such a good man.
It kind of makes you wonder why, shit like that happens.
Right.
But, I think James White will learn how to handle it. And kind of wish none of that ever happened to even high-level people.
Yeah.
It's a horrible thing. But
that's the thing. That doesn't really happen. Doesn't always happen, or only happen to like just high-level people. Like good people, like bad things happen to good people, and it just doesn't make sense. Like you always wonder why.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yep.
So that's a good thing. It's actually a pretty impressive story. Not a lot of people. It's crazy how you live in Ohio and like you try so hard to have this connection with your favorite sports team. I think that's just sports is all about that.
Mm-hmm.
People like that just going to have that connection with the team that they love, they grow up watching and things like that. So that's a sweet ass story, man.
Yeah.
Sweet. So I just got one thing. This is kind of funny. We just had a really sincere moment. Would you say you were a better player than the one and only David Prawl?
Oh yes, I love this question.
Oh, Prawley boy, I love Prawley.
Coach Prawl to me.
Coach Prawl. I'll never. That's crazy to me.
Nope.
Good old Prawley boy. What I'll say is Prawl is deceptively quick.
Yes, for the fat man that he is, he has really quick feet.
His quickness, like he is really, really quick for his size. He's a little bowling ball, but that bowling ball is going fast.
So would you say if you were even 20 pounds heavier, you think you would start in front of the one and only David Prawl?
Gosh, I can't lie. I can't say I would have. If
come on,
I'll be modest, but here I'll tell a story to make fun of Prawl just so I can balance it out. How about
Is this the one where you went blind?
Please tell that story too.
You never had that issue, Joe. You never went blind.
I've never gone blind during pursuit. I will say that. I'll never ever forget that. We're ending pursuit, pursuit drill, and we're going through and walking, just going to get water. Everybody's kind of chilling, and then I hear Prawl in the background. Coach, I
can't see.
I can't see. And I hear our coach. I can't remember who it was at the time because we had so many. But he's like, "What?" He's like, I can't see. I can't see. And forever, Prawl has been the blind man who was playing football at that point.
Yes.
I will say though, Prawl is one of the more fragile individuals I've ever met. He has
you have no idea.
a cavalcade of injuries that are undiagnosed and unnoticeable to the trained or untrained eye.
To Prawl's eye, really.
To Prawl's eye, it's always there, but to everybody else's, including medical professionals, it's never been there. Junior year against Denison, we're at home. And, I'm rotating in. It's a run heavy time. Like they're on the goal line and I'm still in. And I'm thinking, well, I'm all at 215 pounds. I'm not your goal line run stopper. You're 300-pound quick kid. David Prawl's your run stopper. Why is he not in? And I look over and there's Prawl laying on the ground getting his hamstring stretched out because his hamstring cramped in 40-degree weather, supposedly.
It's amazing.
The most important part of the game. And he was fine 5 minutes later. And I'm like, Prawl, your fake hamstring injury, I should not be in on the goal line. I'm very self-aware as a player. And good old Prawley boy's over there getting yoga in as the game's on the line in, Denison, the biggest game of our year. And so I will never forgive Prawl for that. And going blind in practice and many other things that good old Prawley boy does. But,
yeah, so we'll mark it up as you were as good as David Prawl.
I can deal with that. I mean, and maybe when I stop being so humble, I'll just admit that I was better than him. I mean,
You had both eyes. Both eyes worked.
That's true.
they still do.
See.
Crawls up in the air. We don't know.
Well, I sometimes I don't think they work. And he got up today and he was limping out of nowhere, and it made no sense.
Did he fall down the stairs a couple weeks ago?
Oh yeah, we it was like the third day of camp. We're getting stuff out in the morning, and Prawl comes down. It's like 8 in the morning, and Prawl comes in limping. I'm like, Prawl, what's wrong? He goes, I fell down my stairs. I was like, well, how high up were you? He goes, I was third step from the bottom. I'm like, Jesus Christ, bro.
Prawl is like one of the more dramatic individuals I ever met. He's the loudest sleeper I've ever met. Not even close. Not even close. This man is. I don't understand how someone's this loud when they sleep. Sometimes he just doesn't breathe. Sometimes he's snoring. Sometimes it's both. It's remarkable. And every day when I roomed with him my sophomore year, or roomed next to him in the quad, I always had to look down on my futon that I would jump down on from the top bunk to go to the bathroom at night, because my roommate would always come over and sleep on that futon because Prawl was so loud. Just terrible.
Poor Prawl.
I love Prawley. I love
him too. That
Everybody loves Prawl.
He's just so fun to mess with.
He's like an easy target. He does it to himself.
Well, that's the thing. He gives a reaction. If you don't give a reaction, if you no sell it, you're good. And everybody's like, all right, that's not funny. But Prawl gives the biggest reactions. So, you make fun of him like Prawl, and he goes, and and Seal Prawl breaks out.
Oh, God.
was
All right. My final question is the question I ask all of our guests that are 21 and over. What is your favorite alcoholic beverage?
Favorite alcoholic beverage? Well, Cole, you should know this more than anybody. Me and Cole and our Thursday night appointments every single Thursday night from like my junior year on, darn close to it.
Mm-hmm.
We got together and would race to see who could finish a 12-pack first, and then pick out the beers from the mini fridge that were left over from the week before and finish those up too. Made Friday morning class was rough.
At the time, especially when you were student teaching.
Oh God. Well, no, student teaching, we toned it down, remember, because we would limit it to 6 because I had to be up early, and I think I had an 8 a.m. or something. Yeah, you were in the thick of it. So we were good. We were like really good when I was student teaching. But in the fall when I wasn't student teaching, I would walk into Dr. Fratt's class. I'd put my stuff down. Go downstairs, get a bagel and 2 waters, and then I pop 3 ibuprofens in, and I'd be able to make it maybe through the day. No, but favorite drink. I've always been a Miller Lite guy. Always been a Miller Lite guy. But I will have to say my favorite beer probably now is Spotted Cow, which, to keep with the Wisconsin flavor, it's a beer you can only buy it in Wisconsin. It is illegal to sell it anywhere else. They make it illegal to sell it anywhere else. It is a Wisconsin beer. I just went up this summer and brought back about 9 cases of it to last me another 365 days. It is like you go to Ohio liquor stores and you see like all the different beers. You'll see as much like all this Miller Lite, all this Bud Light, all this Coors Light, and then you have a little craft beer section. Wisconsin has one section that's just Cow. It's my love. I love Spotted Cow. So I'd have to go with good old Spotted Cow.
Is anybody participating in Sober October? Why is that a thing? First off, where did Sober October come from?
I never heard of that, but with as busy as I've been with football and teaching and everything, it's been basically Sober October for me. I've had 0 time. I think I had 4 cows during the Browns victory this past Sunday, and I was like, man, I need to get back in shape.
I know Teddy broke it, and I know I broke it.
I did. I broke it last night.
I did too. I think I broke it last weekend too, but
I didn't even realize we were in October. So
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on the 4th episode of the Roughnecks podcast. Thank you, Joe, for being our 3rd special guest. Appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. We're pretty much out everywhere, including Google Podcast, Spotify Podcast, and Apple Podcast. Be sure to leave a rating review. Make those honest. Any feedback we get is appreciated, whether it's good or bad. Be sure to share this episode and make sure that you add the hashtag Roughnecks Podcast when you do. Be sure to tune in next week as we have another special guest joining us. See you guys next week. Roughnecks out.
Right, Jason.
Oh, hey there. Did you listen to this all the way through? Well, if you did, then you might have just won yourself some free merchandise. If you're listening to this still and you want to enter to win the first ever Roughnecks merchandise, then go follow us on Instagram at Roughnecks Podcast. That's just saying free merch with the hashtag Roughnecks Podcast. If you do this, then you're entering yourself to win a free Roughnecks t-shirt and Roughnecks stickers. This will be the first ever merchandise made for the Roughnecks. Not even Teddy or Cole have anything, so be sure to stop what you're doing right now and go on Instagram to make sure you're the first one to enter, because the first one to enter wins. Must be following to qualify. Entry closes on Friday, October 16th at 10 a.m.